start over?
Yeah, go ahead.
Alright. Hi, I'm Dawson. I'm from Fredericksburg, Texas, and on September 28th, I was at Sonic. I was minding my own business, eating food, and before I know it, the cop walks up from, or Officer Lovelady walks up from Pizza Hut parking lot into Sonic parking lot, and approaches my car and says there was suspicious activity in a silver car in the other parking lot, the Pizza Hut parking lot. He said he smelled weed, and asked me if anybody smoked in here or in my car or anything like that. I told him no. Then he asked me if I had if anybody borrowed the car lately and maybe left anything in it, and I told him no.
Speak up a little bit. Yeah, speak up a little bit.
Should I repeat that?
No, just keep going.
Okay.
But
and then after we exchanged words for a second, he said he smelled weed, or he could smell the weed, so he asked me to step out of the vehicle. He said, do you mind stepping out of the vehicle? Or he said, why don't you step out of the vehicle for me? And I said, no sir, there's no reason for me to. So he said, okay. And then he started calling on his radio, and he had backup show up, and by that time there were 3 cops there. One was talking to me on my left side, on the driver's side, through my window, asking me questions, checked my tongue and my eyes and all that, and I was sober, completely sober.
Wait a minute, they checked your tongue?
Apparently, the back of your tongue, your taste buds stand up after you smoke.
Wow.
So they made me do this.
Okay.
Okay, anyway. And as he's asking me questions, I see in the corner of my eye, Officer Lovelady reach his hand through my window to unlock the door, or attempt to open the door first, but you can't open it from the inside, so then he started reaching for the lock. By this time, I said, hey, what are you doing? And I started rolling up the window. And before I even got the window even in his hand or anything, he said, he's rolling up my window, that's assault. So after that, the officer on my left side started grabbing for me and trying to open my door on my side. And as that's going on, Lovelady runs over and starts trying to do the same thing, grab for me and open the door. And the 3rd cop comes up and starts doing the same thing. So I'm sitting there, and I have no idea what's going on. They haven't said anything to me about being under arrest or searching the car or having a warrant to search the car or anything like that. They didn't even ask to search the car, they just asked me to step out of the car. So as they're all grabbing on me, I'm pretty much yelling, what are y'all doing? What is going on? You know, and they're not responding to me. They just keep, by this point, they're grabbing me by the collar and trying to pull me out through my window. And I say, you can't pull me out through my window. And then finally, I wasn't resisting anything. I mean, how can I resist being under arrest when I was never placed under arrest, you know?
Right.
Anyways, by this point, they got the door open, and they just, all 3 of them, 3 adult men, pulled me out, threw me down, stuck their knees in my back, and placed handcuffs on me.
Okay.
And after that, immediately after they put me in handcuffs, the 3rd cop that showed up there went to the passenger side. He got in the car, and he opened the console immediately and said, here it is, here we go.
Okay. All right. Now, during all this, while they had you on the ground or anything, putting cuffs on you, did they tell you anything while you were under arrest?
No, sir.
They didn't tell you why you were under arrest or why they even were coming towards you?
Well, they said they approached the vehicle because of suspicious activity in the Pizza Hut parking lot, the parking lot across the street.
Right.
And they said it was a silver car, so they approached mine.
Okay. So, just because you had a silver car and you were next door.
Yes, because I was away from the scene of the call-in, and I'm the only person in Fredericksburg, Texas, out of 10,000 people who has a silver car. And that's all they said, was a silver car. I mean, that could be anybody. I mean,
all right, and so after they illegally pull you out of the car, then they search the vehicle and find, you know, you say, you know, they found your marijuana or whatever. Then were there anything else? Did they charge you with anything or anything like that after that? No, when they just put you in the car and then hauled you off to this precinct?
Well, they started to search the car a little bit more, but there's nothing. They started pulling stuff apart, looking inside the interior and all that. They just, after that, I was sitting there. They didn't say anything really. They just took me off to jail.
And there was 3 cops total there?
Well, there was 4 cop cars, 3 cops that were handling me, and I don't know where the fourth cop was.
Yeah.
And then also the cameras were set up to where the only two cop cars that were facing my vehicle were off, and the only two cameras that were on were facing an angle to where you cannot see where the officer reached into my private personal property inside my car.
Right.
And you cannot see where they were kind of grabbing me and stuff. You can only see where they pulled me out next to the car and threw me down and then cuffed me.
Okay. And then have you had any troubles with the laws before?
No, I have never. No traffic tickets, nothing. I've got a driver's license for 2 years now, 2 years and 3 months. I've never even had to talk to an officer before. They came up to me and started talking to me, and then I ended up getting in trouble.
And then were they city cops or deputies?
City cops.
They're city cops?
Fredericksburg city cops.
And they only know the one name, only Love Lady?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. Well, what do you plan to do about this, Dawson? Are you going to take this to court, or are you going to...
Yes, I'm going to take this to court. I got a lawyer. Hopefully we can file a lawsuit. I need to make a complaint too.
What would, after doing all that, what would you like to see happen? Are you expecting like money or retribution, or do you just not want to see this happen again to somebody else?
I'm not expecting money. I just don't want to see this happen to people
for just being in the wrong place at the wrong time?
Wrong place at the wrong time.
All right, man.
And it's just, they need to know that, everyone has their rights, and what they did was not right, to do to me or whatever.
All right. Constitution. Broke a kid's ribs, piece of shit. Yeah.
Okay, and these... actually, we need trade sides. These bruises are from that incident, the arrest that you just heard about. And this is 2 weeks after it. Now you can whip your shirt down. Now here's a standing profile of the man that it took 3 full-grown adults, one of them who I know is 6'4", at pushing 275 with all his gear on, had to assault for just being in the wrong place at the wrong time.